Well, a warm welcome to you all on this warm, beautiful spring day. I'm JJ. I'm a life coach and I eat mostly meat.
I'm Eric. I'm a novelist and I eat mostly meat. And I think my glasses have gone dark.
Oh, a little bit.
So maybe I should take them off. Because I don't like watching people talk with their sunglasses on. I need to see their eyes so I can tell if they're lying to me.
Are you lying?
No! That's why I don't have to hide anything. So I'm taking my glasses off now. I'm driving and I can't see very well. So we'll see how that goes.
Luckily, we don't have much cross traffic except for the rogue deer and the dog.
So today is a special day, JJ.
Very special.
And we're doing a special video about carnivore couples and the like.
It is our 28th anniversary.
Wow, we've been married longer than we've not been married.
We have been, that's true. And we're enjoying weather here in Wisconsin that's very similar to when we got married.
Yeah, that's true.
We got married in Alberta, Canada, and it was a beautiful, beautiful May day in Canada. Unusually
we
warm.
lucked out.
Yeah. So we've had a pretty good marriage these 28 years.
Yeah, we have. And part of the reason we know that is that we made it to year 28.
You don't have any other plans, do you?
No. Do you?
No.
Okay, good.
No.
That would be a heck of a note to announce that on our YouTube video.
Gosh. Definitely. And let's see, we've known each other...
Oh, well, much longer.
39?
Something like that.
Years,
yeah.
I think. Yeah.
I think I met you when you were about 15.
Yeah. Yep, I was 15. Crazy. So one of the things we wanted to discuss today was not just reminiscing about our wedding, although I've got something for you on that in a moment. But I also want to talk about how the carnivore diet has actually affected and impacted our marriage for the better.
Yes.
Yeah. But first, I want to go back to that day, 28 years ago.
Okay.
We sort of did a planned elopement. We went by ourselves. Our families stayed home. It was just you and me, and the marriage commissioner and her husband and the photographer. And when we got done with our ceremony, got done with our photos, what did we do?
We went to Dairy Queen.
We went to Dairy Queen. Yes, we did.
I don't remember what I had.
I don't remember either, but we probably went big and went peanut butter.
Probably.
That's my guess. But yeah, we had reservations that evening at a steakhouse in a resort, which I was none too thrilled about because I didn't like steak at the time. But that was the fancy place to go. But until that reservation, we had to find something to do and celebrate. So we celebrated with some Dairy Queen.
Yeah, there was no family around to celebrate with. So.
No.
As a matter of fact, we we called home from a payphone.
We did that before Dairy Queen, I think.
Is that right?
Yeah, we stopped at the payphone.
That might have been your mom, though, because I feel like I called mine from the steak place.
We did make a call from the steak place, too, yeah.
Through a payphone.
Yeah, it was probably my mom. So, yeah, called her, let her know the deed was done. There was no going back. And then we walked over to Dairy Queen.
Not very carnivore of us.
No, that's why I wanted to bring it up. We are not doing Dairy Queen today. Stay tuned and we'll tell you what we are doing. Yeah.
So you mentioned at the outset that carnivore has benefited the marriage. Mm-hmm. But we've only been doing it for 2.5 years.
Yes.
So clearly the marriage was on pretty good footing.
Yeah, it was on decent footing.
But we got to talking about how diets can be aligned or misaligned. Mm-hmm. And obviously, it's way easier to do carnivore and stick to it when you have a partner living with you who's also doing it.
Yeah, we're on the same diet, which is nice. Makes it a lot easier, I'm sure. But there was a time when our diets were a little more misaligned, we'll say. And that was when I had to give up gluten years and years ago, which you thought was a crock.
At the time I did, yeah.
Yeah, no, he changed his mind quickly because he actually became my barometer to be able to tell if I'd accidentally ingested gluten. I'd be feeling way off and he'd say, "Is it possible you've been glutened?" Because he'd notice it before it completely processed for me. And I'd be like, oh, I did. I ate at Subway and they put my meat on the cutting board and I think I did get gluten. But how was that for you now when our diets were not aligned? You were still eating gluten. You've never given gluten up completely.
No, well, it was annoying because you would always have to be finding a gluten-free option, and often that constrained where we would go.
Yes.
But annoying isn't really a problem because I wasn't the main food preparer.
Yeah, that's true.
If I was the main chef, well, then maybe that would have been a bit of more of an issue.
Yeah.
Because you started making gluten-free substitutes of things we commonly ate. So if you had a good gluten-free spaghetti noodle, it wasn't a hardship for me because it tasted fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
But some gluten-free desserts weren't the best. But I was able to kind of just roll with it. Or if we went out, I would just get the gluten stuff and you wouldn't.
Yeah. Yeah. It did affect our travel back then, though, too. And like you said, where we ate, because back then it was not a common thing. And so we didn't know where to vacation at first. We ended up going to Disney. If you're liking our content and want to continue on this carnivore journey with us, like and subscribe, because they were a safe place to eat, for me to eat. So there was a little bit of impact, but we don't really have a lot of suggestions for couples who are misaligned on the carnivore diet.
I think it's got to be pretty tough.
Like, say,
if you're the main food grocery shopper and food preparer, and you're not carnivore, but a household member is, I would think that you'd be more inclined to say, okay, you're on your own. You're making your own food.
Yeah.
If you are the food preparer and your partner isn't going carnivore, but you are, then it's more like, well, either you have the steak and I can make you a potato as well, or I'm making steaks. If you want a potato, I'll tell you when to start.
True, yeah.
I know there's ways to negotiate that, but we haven't had to do that. So I'm curious, for you guys, if you're in that situation, how do you handle it?
We do hear from a lot of viewers whose partner is not on the same page.
And you wish they were, for the health benefits, but I would also think it would just be easier.
Yeah, I think it's definitely easier. And if you're coming from opposite diets, say vegan and carnivore, it would probably be really tough.
That would be very hard because the vegan would be like, you're killing yourself.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, you're dying. And so you'd have this fundamental breakdown
Yeah.
of reality, which is not good for a marriage, generally speaking.
But like you said, if there's a little bit of alignment, if you both eat meat, for instance.
Yeah. But, go ahead.
Well, then, you can either make your family member the potato or have them make it themselves, is what you're saying.
But here's a misalignment that I think is probably kind of common, but also kind of hilarious to me, because I'm not in it, is you're going carnivore, but your family member, your partner, is staying sad American diet.
Oh.
And they're telling you that you're killing yourself with carnivore.
Oh, well, yeah.
That's like the biggest irony of all.
Sad diet would be really tough. And again, I think it's even worse. Maybe you can navigate it in your home. You let us know. Maybe you can navigate it in your home a little bit better, but going out to eat, vacation, all that type of thing gets affected. And I think, I'm making this up because, again, we fortunately didn't have this situation. I think that you have to maybe agree to disagree or something. Like, let's take the topic off the table for now. Because it could get contentious.
Well, of course it could.
Yeah. That would be no good.
Plus, if you're carnivore and somebody in the house isn't, they're going to have the temptation foods there.
Yes.
That makes it, if you get hungry, that snack impulse might hit all of a sudden.
Yeah.
That could be a danger. So for us, we have that in a daughter who's not carnivore, but she's at college, and so there's very little of her nasty fake food available.
Yeah.
And it's not very tempting.
No, not at this point. But she's got her own cabinet area. So her food's staying there pretty much. We don't even have to go in there. And for a while now, and again, she's an adult. She's not a young child. She's been on her own for dinners because I'm not doing it. It is a little hard to go, okay, when I shop for her, because I've altered the shopping a bit with her. She is eating more protein. There have been some changes, yet I do feel like I'm buying her poison sometimes. It's not great.
Yeah, but she's 21, and I mean, we could go hardline and say any of that you want, you have to buy for yourself.
Yeah, I'm not prepared to do that. Especially since we only get her part of the year anyway. So.
And even when she's home, we don't really get that much of her. So.
Yeah. So there are ways to sort of navigate it. And as we've said, we choose to just be the role model. And I think that's a good stance to take. I think Dr. Barry talks about that. A lot of influencers talk about being the role model if your partner or family members aren't on board. And that's what we try to do. Yeah. But again, we're very fortunate because as a partnership, we're in it together. And we've seen some amazing benefits individually that we've talked about a lot. And we've seen advantages with our marriage.
I think that going carnivore together has brought us closer together in some ways. And some are just kind of obvious. But one is we do a YouTube channel together. So it forces us to talk about what video and talk about how the videos are doing and spend time together in a creative effort, which is fun.
Yeah.
But we're watching many of the same carnivore YouTube channels. And so then we talk to each other about the new Dr. Boz. Well, she's not carnivore. Dr. Boz or Dr. Barry or Homestead How videos.
Yes.
See what Bella is up to, what hijinks she's up to, sweetening her ice cream with salt or something.
She doesn't eat salt.
Nope. So that's fun because if, we don't watch every video that every influencer makes. I know that's shocking and appalling and a betrayal of the whole community. But, since there are 10,000 carnivore channels, some of which pop up on my feed sometimes, and I'm like, I've never seen this person before, and they've got all these followers and they've done all these videos. But we can recommend to each other, make sure you check out that video because it was really good.
Yep.
Or there was something really interesting about it, and that's fun to have that to talk about.
Yeah.
We could watch them together, but, just like you guys do, many of you are just listening to this and not watching because you're doing other things at this time. You may be wondering why the birds are so loud or there's this weird sounds occasionally. That's because we're in a golf cart right now and you missed out.
We are in a golf cart. So conversation, that shared experience has been great for our marriage. And we chose to do this YouTube channel as sort of a joint partnership thing. Yeah. The other thing that's been really nice is we can bounce troubleshooting ideas off each other. Like if something's not optimal for us, or if we're just thinking about experimenting with something, we can talk it through with each other.
Yeah, because not only have we done carnivore now for 2.5 years and watched a ton of content and read the books and the articles, and that kind of creates like a network of knowledge that each individual has, but then the network can kind of connect to her network of knowledge. And so just one little thought or comment from one of us can spark a memory of something we saw, and that helps us troubleshoot or improve or come up with a new experiment we want to try to optimize our health.
And we know each other pretty well now. But that means that we can go,
Yeah, it's been a while since we've known each other pretty well. Remember when we would play categories against younger couples?
Yes.
We would demolish them so bad.
Crushed.
That it was embarrassing to their relationship.
We would say like, so remember when we went...
Yep.
Yep. Yeah. So we could do that now. So I'm thinking of... Yeah, but we know each other very well, and so we can also ask the questions of, oh, well, I know you usually eat breakfast. Is that going to work with your breakfast? Or I know you're usually fasting. Are you going to fast through that? Or whatever it might be. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's nice as well. I sort of alluded to this earlier, too. One really nice thing for us is the travel situation at this point, because we're both on the same page.
Yeah, don't go anywhere.
That's his page, especially. That's been your page long before Carnivore.
I got burnt out going places when I was an executive.
But when we go somewhere, it's actually easier to navigate now that it's not a gluten issue for me. You can get a burger patty anywhere, which I've known for a while, but I wasn't into burger patties as much as I am now. But we've been to Vegas, we've been on cruises, we've stayed carnivore or ketovore on these travel events and been able to do it because we're doing it together, I think.
Right, yeah.
And it makes it so much easier to do that when someone across from you is not eating the free pizza and ice cream or included pizza and ice cream on the cruise. So that's worked pretty well. And we're also able to go, hey, did you see they've got a carving station if you go around the buffet? So travel's been great, but also we have traveled for Carnivore.
That's true.
To Carnivore events.
And we're about to do it again this week.
We are. We're headed to Meat Stock this week. So that's been interesting.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing the Smoky Mountains.
Mm-hmm. You've also alluded to this, our entertainment, because we don't always watch Carnivore videos together. But every now and then, I come into the living room and you've got Dr. Barry queued up.
Yeah.
Now, that's more infotainment, I think, right?
Yeah, I like to watch him and Nisha's lives occasionally because it's just good to... Very often you get the same questions that you've heard a million times. But it's just good to have it reaffirmed that, like, yep, I know the answer to that one. I know the answer to that. Oh, I didn't even hear... I've never heard of that disease. That's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's affected our entertainment to a certain degree.
Yeah, a little bit.
Little bit. But again, given us all these shared experiences in those different areas.
It's also made us equally insufferable.
True!
But we hide our insufferability by not giving voice to the opinion, which is we do voice when we're watching TV and go, that guy needs Carnivore. Really badly. Yes, yes.
Oh, we were watching something recently, and you actually said something really profound. You actually said something profound. No, you said that person is 90 days away from a different life.
Yes, that is true.
Holy cow, that was... Wow.
And it's true of so many people.
Yeah.
Who... And I'm not saying 90 days away from perfect health. I'm saying 90 days away from almost being completely immobile and on a trajectory to a soon funeral.
Yeah.
And could completely transform their life just in their ability to get through day to day on 90 days of Carnivore.
Yeah. Yeah. Which leads me into, these are ways that we've talked about that has brought our marriage together even more, made it even stronger, more connected. And these last few I want to discuss have done the most for our marriage. And the good news is, even if your diet's not aligned with your mate, your partner, they can reap these benefits as well. And that is mood. One of them is mood. I know when you have been in your periods of anxiety and when you were on your SSRI, it helped tremendously. But when you've had your issues with mood and mental health, it's really tough on the partnership. And I've had my issues too.
No comment.
Well, and even just, there's more resilience in the partnership when the partners have better moods overall.
I agree.
It just makes life so much easier and the partnership so much more fun and more easy.
Yeah.
Easier. Yeah.
And obviously, when people are feeling better and have more energy.
Oh, energy, yeah.
You're able to do things together that in the past would have been just time on the sofa in front of the TV.
Yeah.
And, the chores we've undertaken just this past week
Yes.
I mean, I'm actually pretty sore from some of it, but it was a huge accomplishment, and we did it powered by meat.
Yeah. And we still recovered. We took our downtime, and we were able to do it and do it together. And again, even if your partner's not on this way of eating, not doing this way of eating, they're going to benefit from your mood, from your energy, and your health.
Yeah, absolutely.
Holy cow.
28 years married is it depends on how long you've been married, whether that's long or short, right? Because, some of you probably have been married for 40, 50 years, and that's a different calibration.
Yeah.
But it's definitely longer than 2. Because there's, you've gone through a certain number of cycles of different things and kind of recognize the patterns.
Yeah.
We know in successful marriage that each individual has to do more than 50% of the marriage to some degree. And Carnivore gives each individual enough energy and enough resilience to be able to show up for their more than half. And so an investment in one's health is not selfish. It's an investment in the marriage itself.
Yeah. I remember in my 30s when I was in my worst fatigue, mood, energy issues, and we had a young child, there was nothing left for you. Like, I had nothing left for you. I was just barely scraping through the day and giving what I did had to our daughter. So,
well, for part of that, I was in my career, so I also had nothing. So it was not maybe great for her in her childhood, but because we could have been way more energetic parents.
Yeah.
This is one of the things I really, not knowing that I wanted a kid until I was 30.
Yeah.
It's kind of unfortunate because the energy of our 20s would have been really well spent with child rearing.
Our energies of our 20s or our 50s?
Yeah, right. Although I don't want to start now.
No. 30s and 40s, not so great.
No, yeah. I don't recommend starting in the 30s. Start in the 20s.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Yeah. So, presumably, we don't know. No one knows the future, but presumably eating this way has given us a longer health span together and a longer lifespan together. That's the hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so far, so good. And it's why that we're able to say every day stronger.
Every day more blessed.